Hey guys, Chad Sobalka, Remax Professionals, Real Estate Real Simple. This is the video series where I talk about everything I can in the real estate industry to help make the American dream a little more crowded. Hey there, thank you so much for joining me. Today's topic is what are the 5 biggest mistakes I'm seeing home buyers make as we head out of 2022 and into 2023. Buying a house is a big deal. It's a scary thing. It can be really intimidating. So you don't want to make any pitfalls or trip on anything along the way. It can be a really tough stretch if you make any of these mistakes. So first and foremost, I don't want to cover all the fluff stuff. Of course you're going to hire an inspector. Of course you're going to hire a realtor. I do believe it's more important than ever to hire a professional realtor who knows what they're doing, but we'll cover that in a different topic. So make sure you do all of those things. But specifically this market, because it is so different than the market that we've been working in for the past 8-9 years, these are mistakes that people are making that they probably weren't making before. So the first one I want to start off with is a big one, and that is waiting. A lot of people, your dad might be telling you, calm down, don't buy right now. It's not a good time to buy. The market's crashing. Well, I hate to disagree with dad, but I don't believe the market's crashing. I believe it already has a little bit. So I want to show you something. We're going to take a look at my computer screen here real quick. This is the neighborhood I live in. It's called Leawood. It's a suburb of Denver, Colorado in Littleton. And I'm going to just pick a random house here. Completely random. We'll go with this one. So we're going to look at the Zestimate, which I know every realtor out there is kicking me in the head saying, Chad, you can't do this. But the fact of the matter is our algorithm works off of comps and past sales. So it's actually kind of a good measuring stick for the market. So right now they say it's worth $627,200. This is the past 5 years right here. So healthy growth, healthy growth, healthy growth, healthy growth, pandemic hit, holy cow, no supply, lots of demand, we spike up and then spike up again, and this house peaked on this estimate for about $705,500. That was back in April of 2022. I probably could have gotten them $730, but that's a different topic. So from its peak, that property has come down a little over $70,000. That's a huge swing, right? Because we're down here. You are already getting a sensational deal if you were to buy that house right now, today, November 7th. But if this house was listed for $627,000, at least here in Denver, you could probably cut that whole $27,200 off, and I bet dollars to donuts, depending on the house. Now, if it's a beautiful house inside and Zillow doesn't know about it, it's probably going to go for that price. But we're just assuming that it's an average house. You're probably getting that house right now for about $600,000. Houses are sitting on the market for about a month. There is room to negotiate. So you're coming down over $100,000 off of its all-time high back in April. That's a great deal. Why would you walk away from that, right? So I do think that waiting, if we go back to my computer screen here, you see we back in June of 2021, we did see a little bit of a correction there. This correction is much more significant. Could this be the bottom? Have we already seen the market come down? It is a legitimate possibility. Now, I don't have a crystal ball. Warren Buffett doesn't have a crystal ball. But I would tell you that buying today, even at a higher interest rate, is better than buying back there. So that kind of leads us into our second topic, is interest rates. I believe home buyers are way too worried about the 6.5% interest rate that we're seeing here today. And there's a couple of huge reasons why. Number one is there is such creative financing today to kind of get around that it's not as big of a deal as everybody says. So I talked in a couple other videos about the 3-2-1 buy down. So what that is setting up an escrow account and prepaying the interest 3% off of whatever your interest rate is for the first year, 2% off whatever it is the second year, and 1% off whatever it is the third year. Thus the name 3-2-1 buy down. The amazing thing about it is the seller can be the one who does that. So if we go back to my computer screen here and look at this property again, that $27,200 you would get off of that house, you can put towards that 3, 2, 1 buy down, making your interest rate for the first year that you actually feel 3.5%, 4.5% the second year, 5.5% the third year. It's not all the way until year 4 that you're paying that 6.5%. And I don't think you'll find an economist out there that believes that our interest rates are going to stay that high for that long. It's almost unanimous across the board. Everybody believes eventually, once inflation is under control, that we're going to be back in the 5s and 4s, because that's what this market has become accustomed to. And that is what the Fed wants. You'll probably see a million realtors say that because it's catchy and it's what we say when stuff changes. But you marry the house and you date the rate. And it is true. For instance, my wife and I refinanced 3 or 4 times over the course of 5 or 6 years because it just made financial sense. Granted, we worked our way down to a really good rate. The same thing could absolutely happen. And I would rather pay 7% interest than 100% interest on renting. And I know, Grant Cardone says you should never own your home, you should always rent. But what he isn't telling you is that he owns the building that he's renting from. So yes, in that case, it does make more sense to own the building and rent an apartment in it. But for the rest of us 99%ers who aren't billionaires and don't have 5,000 rental properties, it makes sense to be a homeowner. So actually, the second biggest mistake people are making rolls into the third one, and that is only having one lender quote your loan. So just like everything else in life, including the realtor you work with, I hope you talk to multiple people. But what we have seen is over 85% of people talk to one lender, just one, when going through the home buying process. They actually talk to 2 or 3 different real estate agents. When you go car shopping, you go to 3 or 4 different car lots. But for some reason, people only talk to one lender because they think that one lender has all the options. They don't. It's extraordinarily rare that any of them, even brokers, don't always have all the options. So please do yourself a favor. Don't just use the guy down at the local Chase branch or Wells Fargo branch, or don't just use the guy that your brother's sisters, uncles, brothers, best friends, cousins, groomsmen referred to you. Do yourself a favor. Now, don't get me wrong, one of those options might be the best one, but you'll never know if you don't ask more than one lender. Lenders are coming up with all sorts of creative ways to get financing to work for people these days, so it is wildly in your best interest to talk to more than one. And the fifth and final mistake that I'm seeing homebuyers make these days is assuming because they're pre-qualified for a certain amount that is what their budget should be. If you actually break down how your max loan is calculated off of your income, you would be absolutely insane to assume that is your budget. What you should do is take that number, times it by 0.8 at best, 0.7 if you really are being smart, use that as your budget number. It is so much safer and so much better to be house poor but cash rich. You can still find an amazing house. And when I say house poor, take that with a grain of salt. What I mean by that is you're not buying the absolute best house for yourself while scraping by to make the payment. It is such a better feeling to own your home but still have money to put into investments, money to put into the house, to take the family on a trip, to be able to afford the mundane day-to-day and keep putting money into your savings. If you're house rich and cash poor, all of that evaporates and you become a ball of stress paying for a house that you begin to resent. So always, always, always be smart with that budget, shave a couple points off of it and use that as your budget. Trust me, you're gonna thank me later. So there you go. Those are the 5 biggest mistakes I'm seeing homebuyers make today. If you're looking in the Denver metro area, I would be absolutely honored to help you buy a house. My info is here down below. If you're looking somewhere else, comment below where you're looking, and if you have any fears or if you ran into any mistakes buying your first home, leave those below too. We're all just trying to, like I say, make the American dream more crowded. Build your wealth, build your life. Chad Sabalka, RE/MAX Professionals, real estate real simple. Stay blessed, guys.